Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining me today. As you know, we're going on a trip to Cumberland Island, and when I say we, I mean me and then you all, and we're going to be trying to do something that I've been trying to do for a long time, but I needed some gear. So the people at Snow Peak graciously offered to give me an Alpha Breeze tent, and I'm really excited about this tent because I've always hated tent camping because tents feel really smushed to me being as tall as I am, and they feel claustrophobic, so I usually do hammock camping. But this thing is huge. Like, even as tall as I am, I can stand up inside it, which is incredible. So I'm super excited about this, but I want to see how easy it is to set up. So is the Alpha Breeze tent from Snow Peak easy enough to set up that an idiot like me, who glanced at the instructions once and then threw them out, can set it up without instructions? Let's find out. Now, obviously, the first thing we need to do is kind of get to the tent, because I have all of my stuff packed up for this trip already. And I wanted to make sure it could fit in the cart, because you have to hike out to the campsite, and I didn't want to have to carry all of this, you know, without something to help. And I do have the mat set on this as well, so that way that it protects your tent for longer. I feel like if you're ever going to use a tent, you should always use either a mat set for the tent or a tarp down at the bottom, just to kind of keep rocks and stuff from poking the bottom of your tent. It just makes it last longer. But here's the Alpha Breeze tent. It comes in this great case that packs down really easy. It's made for 3 to 5 people, but if you like a little space, definitely 2 people. But what I love about this tent is it's very, very tall. So even me, with as tall as I am, I can almost completely stand up in the center of this tent, which is great, because most tents always make me feel claustrophobic, and that's why I usually do hammock camping. So I was really interested to try this out, and I'm so thankful to the people at Snow Peak for hearing me talk about that and sending this my way. Now, obviously, the first thing we need to do is get the tent out, and I have the tarp for it just stuffed in here instead of just being loose somewhere else. That way we can easily get to it, know exactly where it's at. And then we're just gonna take and unfold this thing. And obviously, normally you'd want to put a tent on as flat a ground as possible, but I'm just trying to make sure that I have a good understanding of how to set up this tent and take it down so that I can do it quickly when I'm actually camping. And my yard really doesn't have any flat spots, so this is what we go with. Now that we have that done, I've pulled out the rainfly so we can get to the actual tent proper. And it comes with a giant bag of stakes and guy lines and everything that you would need right there, really well organized. But you're gonna wanna take the tent and set it up so that all 4 corners line up with 4 corners of your tarp, and also orient it the way you want. All right, so it looks like this is the front here, because you can see the little awning. And once you've got it laid out where the 4 corners are roughly lined up with your tarp, it's time to get out the poles. And again, you're just looking for those black colored poles at this point. So don't worry about the silver ones or the red tipped ones. You're only doing these right now. The crossbar goes. So let me pop this out. Spin it around. And now we have tension on all 4 corners. And then we find the last black pole, and that'll be this crossbar. And we can set that up. And just like that, it's gonna stand on its own. And you can already see what I'm talking about, even without this front part pulled up with the height. Like, I can completely stand up in here, and it's fantastic. This is why I was so intrigued by this. But now let's get this front part here. And for that, we're definitely gonna need the red poles, as you can see right there.
And I say poles, but it's really just one big piece. And I do remember from the instructions, here's one important part, that this goes outside of these poles and not inside.
So you're just gonna slide this through.
Then you're gonna come down here and you're gonna bend it to put tension on it.
And clip it in just like you did with the other pieces.
And just take those little clips and shove them in the bottom of the pole. This is a super simple setup compared to a lot of tents.
Let's get all these little clips on and attach everything down, because we still have the rainfly to do. Now, once you're done clipping all of those things down, you're gonna wanna come here to this little part and put it on this thing right here, just like that, and then tighten it down. And then do the same thing on the other side. And then after that's done, you have one more of those slightly different connections. And it just comes, it's got a Velcro piece here, and you're going to take it, and I'll see if I can do this one-handed, but you're going to grab and loop it around and then stick it through here, kind of like you would a motorcycle helmet. And then you just pull it tight and Velcro it, and you're good. And you have that on the other side as well. I'm just gonna zip up this back door here. But this is another nice thing about the Alpha Breeze. There's so many openings and vents and all kinds of stuff that really make it really, really nice and breezy. Then finally, you'll want to come and grab this little bag, and this has all of your guy lines and your stakes. And it comes with some pretty decent like push down stakes, but you can get the upgraded ones that are like the solid steel, the big really long spikes, if you need it for an area that's more windy, or if the ground's a little more unstable, just to kind of suit your needs. But for this demonstration today, these will be totally fine. And your tent also comes with some seam glue in this bag, just in case something ever happens and you need it. But these are those little push down stakes. And we're going to go ahead and put them in the corners right now, just to kind of hold things down. Even though we're not done, we'll do it kind of halfway down, so that way I can show you how to put on the rainfly. And the rainfly is super easy. If you've done all this, the rainfly is super quick. But for this, you just want to loop it through your tent, and then the metal grommet that's there. And remember, you want to do a 45 into the dirt, so that it's not straight up or straight down, because it'll come out. And you can just push those in, just like that, super easy. Now, doing a rainfly may look daunting, and it can be because it's a lot of fabric, but Snow Peak makes it really easy by letting you match up the logos. So if you match up this logo with this logo, then you should have a really good start for putting your rainfly on. And just like that, you've got it draped over your tent. Now you just need to start buckling the buckles. And again, they're all color coded, so you can just take this buckle here and loop it through here and then buckle it in, just like this. And I don't think you really have to loop it through. I just do that for extra security, but you do that on the red ones and then all the black ones. Now that that's done, let's get to the guy lines, because that way we'll be able to do the awning, which makes this thing super cool. So you want to take and stick your pole into this little metal grommet here, and you're going to put it up like that. And then you're going to need one of your guy lines. And then you have a nice loop right there. And then you can take and pull the guy line out. And what you're going to want to do is, they come with these rope tensioners, which are great. And you can just set here and pull the rope to your desired length. And then you just pull it tight, get that 45 going, and stake it down again. And you have a guy line to this. And these poles here, you don't ever want to really set them straight up. You always want to make sure they at least have a little bit of an angle to them. It doesn't have to be super pronounced, but you're less likely to tip things over if you have that little angle. And I mean, there you have it. You have a really nice tent setup that has a gorgeous freaking awning for you to take, like my camp chair there, and sit under it. And you can take the big mat and put it in here for extra space. But look at this. I could stand up in here. That is wild. Like, there's so much space. And like sitting down, look how high up it goes. Holy cow. And there's vents for days. I get why they call it an alpha breeze. You have vents there. You have giant windows here you can unzip. You have the whole back area can unzip to either a screen or another door, so you can just go straight through. This thing's gonna be incredible. I mean, this will be a fantastic base camp for us while we're gonna be on Cumberland Island. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you saw how easy this was to set up, because I am super impressed with it. And if you got any value out of this, or if you just enjoyed watching me flail around, give it a like, give it a subscribe if you want to come along on the adventures, or for any more awesome gear looks and gear reviews like this. If you have any questions about this, please comment below, or if you have any questions about any other gear that you would want me to take a look at or review or whatever, leave it in the comment below. I started all this to talk with all of you about gear because I love talking shop. So get in those comments. And as always, I hope to see you out there. Bye. Oh man, that breeze feels good. But I will say, now that I've put in all the guy lines, I'm in the process of taking things back down now, but I tied them all in and they're easy enough to do. You just, when you get it, you undo the rope through the tensioner and then just pull it through here, and then you make a nice noose right here, and then you can just stake them down. And while it's simple, it is very time consuming. So what I think I'm gonna do, and I would suggest for all of you as well, is just leave them on the rainfly, unless you need to like wash them or dry them out or whatever. But I think that will be a lot easier way when you're setting up a camp, because yeah, that was very time consuming.